Namaste. So in this video, I'd like to share my views on patriarchy and Indian arranged marriages. Now, this is not something that will be new because now and then I see an advertisement in which the groom seeing the bride is shown, and then the aspects of it that come out. I think our latest advertisement was about the woman cleaning the the woman cooking, and the man, she expected her husband to clean the vessels, and he was shocked. So I think this unfortunately is still fairly common in India. I'm not very sure why, because in a large way people have accepted modernity and let go of their roots and culture when it comes to rituals, celebrations, etc. But somehow the patriarchy, the domination system continues. Maybe that's how it is. The worst of it, the domination system, would be the last to break apart, maybe. I don't know. You would see a similar pattern in the reservation system. So if there was a problem with domination in the earlier Jati Varna system, now they've made it into another type of Jati Varna system where they're actually calling people backward and forward castes, which itself has never happened in the history of India. And they call this the correction of the Jati Varna system, but actually what they've created is worse. So, well, I'm not very sure why things work the way they do, but looks like sometimes they just go in the wrong directions. So when it comes to patriarchy and arranged marriages, I want to talk about my own personal stories. Often, there was 1, 2, 3 men that I was talking to in the last year for arranged marriage, and one of them for 2, I think I was able to say that, look, I have my choices too. I go to Indonesia once in a while. I'd love you to accompany me, etc., etc., and it was okay with them. But for one of them, he assumed that I was going to go live in his place in Thailand, actually. And since it was supposedly close enough to Indonesia, I should be okay with it. Which is somewhat true. I just need to get out of India once in a while. But I'm saying there was no negotiation really about it, it was just, okay, this is what it is. Also similar, now my mother keeps bringing me some alliances once in a while, and there is a lady with a son. They live in a flat, and I live in a larger house close by, and there's a lot of space here. But somehow, I think after marriage, they expect me to go live in the flat in near my house, and not that they would come and live with me in my larger home. We can easily accommodate the mother and the son and etc. if the mother wants to come along too. But I think, yeah, so it's like, it's okay if I leave my family, but if they leave theirs, it's a problem. Somehow, it's not, yeah. So one is where the partners live after marriage is always the man's home. The negotiation is very little. So that's one of the things that is patriarchy. What else? Yeah, if the woman is independent, earning well, chooses to dress as she wants, etc., that's a problem too, because then it doesn't mean, often the men who come in for arranged marriages, who typically tend to be a little more shy, a little more traditional. They are usually they are usually insecure and unable to accommodate such a woman, because they're wondering, what will I do with a smart girl? She's smarter than me. What will I do with her? So the independence and the smartness of the woman is a problem often for the man. So again, there's a little bit of there is definitely patriarchy there. Now, the independent and smart woman is also a very big problem for the extended family of the boy, the parents, because there are often expectations that the woman takes care of the parents of the boy in their old age, not the boy himself, but the woman is there to nurse and care, etc. And so if she's smart and independent, that means they are depriving themselves of the power. So there is this mother-in-law factor, which is a little more much more toxic than in, say, USA, where there is also the mother-in-law factor, and wherever Europe, I've also faced that. But specifically with respect to how one lives much closer and closer family systems in India and maybe Bali, it gets very hard. The mother-in-law is often not wanting somebody who is uh, not the obedient girl for her. Yeah. So this is the third place where the patriarchy comes. Then of course the money of the marriage itself, like the woman, the bride's family would pay for the bigger ceremony, the marriage, and maybe the groom's family would volunteer some money for the reception, the pre-wedding ceremony. Now, in my mother's generation, there was also the ugly dowry system where they demanded outright a price. The groom demanded a price for the bride. Uh, and Yeah, that's a total mix up. It's not there in the traditional Hindu sastras where sometimes you can pay a price for the bride, like you pay the bride's family, and that's still accepted as good. And that's what really happens till now in Middle East, because I don't know, you're getting something and you're giving something back. But the dowry system was ugly in that the woman had to pay a price to be married to the man, and there was often demands, etc. I don't know. I mean, I know that I'm also not being equal here, but yeah, so the woman is brought into the house to take care of the husband. She has to be paid to brought into the house to take care of the husband and have children, etc. It's more unfair than a woman coming to your home and then you sort of compensate for it. Okay, that's also ugly. Okay, let's not pay anything for marriages. Yeah, patriarchy. When it comes to career and children, of course, it's normal. But then this is the thing with having children, being a woman anyway. So all around the world, having a child you would require to put in more caretaking time. And I think women are often happy to do that when they have a child. So that part I'm just going to leave out. So there are many ugly ways in which patriarchy makes its seen. So for example, when they're looking for a husband for me, they're even afraid to say about me fully. They'd rather not tell the other party that I do this and I am this and I travel like this, and yeah, it's just frightened to say. So you say whatever the man wants, they would just say okay. So if the man wants to live in Canada, they would say yes, my daughter will come to Canada. And yeah, it's such a big disclosure for them that I might travel. And often the men are traveling because they are in IT companies, they are in whatever, they're not in the country for a few months a year. It's just normal Indian city life these days. But for the woman, when they're looking for a husband, you cannot accept it. Yeah, so these are some of the ugly. I think I'm having a calm day, so I'm not able to come up with more ugly things of the patriarchy in arranged marriages. So these are some of them. Now, I'm not very happy with how it goes in the Western society too. That's also the patriarchy, what they've built right now, where the women have to hunt for the man or wait patiently till the man proposes marriage. The woman can't tell a man to marry her in the West. They have to wait for the man to be okay with it. That is patriarchy already for me. And yeah, all the different dramas they go through in terms of multiple sexual partners, trying to find the right man. So the freedom of it, I don't disagree with. I think everyone is free to choose, and they must choose people who love them. But when it's systemic, so for example in the West, the men don't have any real reason to marry and take responsibility of children, or the woman, because they're already getting sex outside of marriage. So that's not really, and that's a big criterion for Indian men to marry. So somehow the women, in being free and being open with their bodies, also give away too much, are unable to get the man to be committed to them for childbirth, etc. I think there's 50% of children born to single parents in the United States right now. So it's a sad thing. I think it's as high as 50%. Yeah, so what is the solution to this? The solution to this is just sort of Developing the individual, like treating everybody with respect, male or female, and accommodating people in our life through love and acceptance. Not really demanding that they be in a certain way for us to be okay with who they are, or making demands as a criteria for love. I will love you if you do this, this, this. That's really not love.